For your top stories, the Sawa acid mine drainage plant set for later this year and a building collapse in Mumbai. Good morning. A plan to treat the toxic acid mine drainage in Johannesburg will only be operational in November this year. That's according to Wits University's Professor Terence McCarthy. Toxic acid mine drainage has been contaminating streams and rivers around Joburg's central mining basin for several years now. The drainage is also threatening the future of Gold Reef City popular historic mine shaft. McCarthy says water is being pumped out of the shaft.
The water level at Gold Reef City is dependent obviously on that pumping. So after November, things should be okay. The water will be contained, and they'll stop the rise. The other thing is that we don't know is that what we've seen, as the water's getting closer to surface, it's rising more and more slowly. And we think that's because there's more open space underground, because they mined more and there's less collapse. So there's more volume to absorb the water that's flowing in. And also, we haven't had much rain this summer, so the amount of water flowing in is going to be probably a little bit less.
While the Water Affairs Department's Marius Keats says the drainage hasn't reached environmental critical level yet.
The current rate of rise is approximately 2 meters per week, which will then take us another 7 months, more or less, to get to the ECL. That's the environmental critical level. And that environmental critical level is still 17 meters below. That means that we've got about 9 months before the water will really reach the level 5 where the visitors are going down to. So we plan to start with the pumping in October, November this year. We are doing monitoring on a daily basis.
There have been renewed calls for a single body to regulate and enforce the labelling of all food products in the country. This follows news that University of Stellenbosch researchers who found meat products with traces of donkey, water buffalo and goat agreed to hand over the names of the retailers concerned to the Red Meat Industry Forum. Food industry consultant Nigel Sunley.
If this exercise means that those organisations that were transgressing are subject to the force of the law, well, then I think that's a good thing, because they broke the law and they must suffer the consequences. People are entitled to know what goes into their food, particularly in an area as sensitive as meat. We unfortunately have a bit of a mishmash of enforcement systems in this country. And I think one of the things that many of us would like to see is a single regulatory body.
The South African National Defence Force has again rejected reports that more than 13 South African soldiers were killed during the rebel takeover of the Central African Republic's capital. The SANDF was reacting after a French news service claimed an eyewitness had seen more than 13 bodies being loaded onto an SANDF plane. The Ministers of Defence and International Relations also denied the reports. SANDF spokesperson Xolani Mabanga.
It is irresponsible and mischievous for anybody to come and say we have lost more than 13. And we would like to appeal to those individuals who are claiming that we have more than 13 people to bring the bodies that they claim to be of South African National Defence Force members to the South African National Defence Force authorities.